Good evening and welcome to ArtTalk from Phillips Mill Community Association. I'm Laura Womack. Today, instead of our usual programming, we're sending you a sort of Thanksgiving Valentine, a message of family fellowship from ours to yours. Phillips Mill has been home to artists since 1899, when William Lathrop and his wife Annie Lathrop moved here and began hosting their famous Sunday afternoon tea parties. Annie was a gifted cook and a gracious hostess who took a genuine interest in Lathrop's students, housing, feeding, and encouraging them. The Lathrop's home and the mill became the intellectual and spiritual center of an art colony that has continued to grow to this day. We wanted to honor the families that have helped make our regional art community and the Phillips Mill Community Association the home for artists that they are today. So we asked some of our community to share what it's like to be part of a family of artists. They produce their stories themselves. Take a look.
What does it mean to grow up in a house with art?
You're going to ask me that question?
Yeah, I can ask you that question.
Well, I already know the question, so I can answer that. No. Actually, when my mom actually subscribed to the Time Life magazine, and she got these books that were more like the Renaissance style, Michelangelo, Rembrandt, Van Gogh. Well, not Van Gogh, he's not. And and they had them around the house, and they're the ones I kind of looked at and studied, and kind of did that kind of classical art kind of style. But
your dad also brought home.
Oh, he would bring home stuff. It's not like he could afford it either. But he was very interested in it, and I think Mom and Dad used to actually. I was so little at the time, but they had a back room where they would paint. And I know my mom was really good, and my dad tried his best to keep up with her. And he had a tough time, and that frustrated him. But he loved to see her paint. So that was more or less, I guess, maybe where I got my idea about painting and drawing.
Yeah, so you were around all the time. Well, as you know, there was no, as you remember probably, there really wasn't any artwork in our house. We grew up very poor, and art was not a thought. Although I must say that once my family saw me draw, they did encourage me along the way. But the art that was in our house, it was, well, there wasn't, but so if somebody gave us a jigsaw puzzle, this is really funny, we would put it together and glue it to a board and nail it to the wall, and that was the art. And then, I don't know if you remember, in my grandparents' house, there was a paint by number, what do you call Last Supper in the dining room.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, it was huge. So that was the art we grew up with. I know.
Yeah.
So
had a Christ figure.
It's like, I wonder what happened to it. But it was, yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. Well, I know when I first started going out with you, at least I used to like seeing your do your little artwork up in your hallway bedroom.
Alcove.
Your alcove, which I know you grew up really good. You grew up kind of poor, but I always admired your drawing style. You had really good drawing style. So.
Well, we both grew up drawing all the time.
Yeah.
And what are the challenges of living with an artist? You go first on that one too.
I don't think there's any challenge. Not in our situation, is there?
No. I think it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
we never ran out of conversation.
Right. We're always talking about it during breakfast, and I think we both encourage each other. I know I'm encouraged when I see you in there painting. That makes me have the desire to run out, go out to my studio and start painting. And then I looking at your style kind of gives me ideas on my painting style.
Yes, even though our styles are totally different, and then we can also bring a piece to each other too and say, what do you think? And we can discuss it, discuss our works, and sometimes give each other a little bit of a nudge. And like you said, when one person is painting, it makes the other person want to go out and paint too.
Well, you kind of make me unlazy when I'm laying here watching television and I see you in your painting and I hear it and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get out there and paint.
Yeah.
And once I'm out there, I kind of lose all train of thought.
Yeah, and then I don't see you now for a couple of days, but yeah.
It's a good time. So when I come in, you have a nice dinner. And
it's all part of living the life of an artist. Oh gosh. This is interesting. how do you celebrate the success of one when the other has not been accepted?
I'm actually, and you're not going to believe it, you never do. I'm more happy when you win something rather than me. In fact, I'm actually embarrassed to win something, and there's a bunch of people and present you with an award, the few awards that I got. But when I see you up there getting it and your big smile, and it really makes me happy.
Well, thank you, and I know, you know, we're always behind each other. And what's nice is that I don't think we're jealous type people anyway, especially of each other, because you always know that, okay, sometimes you win something and sometimes I don't. But then, and we celebrate that, and then another time I'll do well. So it just...
No, there's no jealousy. Other than you draw better than I do.
No,
and that makes me jealous,
yeah. Well, you're the one that can paint, and I've never learned to paint.
No, you're good at everything you
do. Do you feel synergistic or competitive? I mean,
what's that word? I mean, there's a word.
Do we get energy from each other? And we do. We, you know, it's just we feed off of each other.
No, honey, I get energy off you all the time. I mean, when I look at your stuff, your artwork, it energizes me. When I see you out there and you're painting and you're enjoying what you're doing, it makes me feel good that, hey, we made a studio for you, and you're taking advantage of it. And
you have your studio, and I feel the same way when it makes me smile when I know you're in your studio, when I can see you in there. And
right. Yeah. No, it's great. And then people have relatives coming into the house, and they like what they see, and then I try to point out your work, which is on the wall here. But I think you should have more of your work on the wall, but I know you always have.
Well, you paint faster than I do. It takes me forever to do something. So.
All right. I like your hair, by the way. It looks nice.
Thank you. Is that part of the video?
It could be.
Hi, I'm Emily Thompson, and I'm an artist.
And I'm George Thompson. I'm an artist.
And we're going to have a little interview about what it means to be a family of artists. It's just two of us here. So, George, what did it mean for you to grow up in a house that was artistic?
Well, my parents were performers, so they didn't paint or draw, but they were artists in the sense that what they did was artistic, and they encouraged everything I did artistically and really helped me all along the way. And I know your mother was an art teacher, and how did that affect you?
Yeah, she was, she was always a working artist and also a teacher, and I'm really thankful that I grew up in that environment because I was always exposed to the arts from a very young age. Both parents were really good with encouraging me to pursue art, and we always had a lot of art and culture in our lives growing up. So that's really why I'm where I'm at today. What about becoming involved with another artist? Did you ever hesitate about that?
Oh, not for a minute. I'm really happy to be involved with an artist. I'm married to an artist, and I love Emily's artwork, and I feel like I've encouraged her, and I feel like we play off of each other, and I've grown as an artist so much because of her. So it's been just wonderful. I'm really happy.
Yeah, and
she's an artist.
I thank you, and I agree. Since we met at work in an art-related environment, it just seemed real natural that we could make it work and be, artists working together. We have pretty much everything in common. And we work together. We always have. So I never in a minute would hesitate to get involved with somebody who is in the arts. I think it's beneficial to both of us. One thing that we do deal with a lot is how do you celebrate the success of one when the other has not been accepted? Like, when we enter shows and other art-related things that that's part of our job.
I always think it's wonderful when Emily does well and gets noted for what she's doing and whatever awards or gets accepted into shows. I never feel competitive and just very happy for her. I feel like I'm competitive with myself, but not with Emily. I love everything she does, and I'm her biggest fan.
Well, thank you. I feel the same way about you. But it is, it is a tough situation, and I'm sure artists run into that a lot. In my case, I really try to. I totally support everything you do, and I'm always so happy that you, when you get accepted into a show or a gallery, and I think it's real important to be able to support each other and not have any issues regarding that. We share a studio, so I look at it like it's our studio that's been accepted. Even though we are individual artists, we're also a studio, and if you're accepted, I'm accepted. That's how I see it.
Yes.
So
I feel the same.
Thank you. And it's I just think it's living with another artist is just a joy, and we totally benefit from each other's careers and just being inspiration.
Hi, we're the Millers, and we are a family of artists. Bill and I met at Pratt Institute in Brooklyn. In our junior year, Bill asked me out on a date. I accepted, and we are still on that date. I'm a multimedia artist. I enjoy sculpting imaginary characters. I also paint across media and subject matters. I really like to explore the many ways to see the world.
Hi, I'm Bill. I paint in a figurative style, and I paint from my imagination. I see something that inspires me, and it generates other thoughts and other ideas, and I combine them all into paintings. I also enjoy plein air painting. It helps with my observation skills, and I enjoy painting with Lanja and the river rats.
Bill and I have 3 extraordinary daughters who all are very artistic and creative. Zoe is a gifted photographer who is also the art director of an international travel magazine. Jess is a talented gardener who loves documenting the abundant beauty of the natural world. Jess manages a photo studio in Lower Manhattan for a large publishing house. Chelsea has recently discovered her love of painting. She is a design researcher for a large technology company. James is our son-in-law married to Zoe. He is a master professional photographer.
We're thankful that we live in an area with organizations that support the arts, like the Phillips Mill Community Association, the Hunterdon Art Museum, Artsbridge, New Hope Arts, the Michener Museum, and Art Yard. The Greater Lambertville Chamber of Commerce sponsors arts scholarships for local college students through their annual Shad Fest auction. I'd like to acknowledge the talents and time of both Laura Womack and Jan McHugh, who've contributed to the promotion of the 92nd Annual Phillips Mill Art Show and the online conversations with artists in the ArtTalk and Artist Spotlight series. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Hi, I'm Juan Bravo.
Hi, I'm Chi Bravo.
So, what's it like living with an artist, being an artist family? Well, I think, for Chi, for you, it's more of a recent thing because I've only really been doing art, I guess, more seriously for the last few years, about 3 or 4 years now. But for me, I've lived with an artist for as long as I've known you, pretty much. As long as we've lived together, you were an artist, or in the
over
arts.
30 years.
Long time. And it's been great. It's it's one of the main reasons I got into art eventually, is being exposed to it as much as we were, and it being part of our lives, and all the weekend events at galleries, openings, and stuff that you drag us to over the years. I think for me, it's nice actually having the same interest in art with your spouse, and you love it and been with for so long. So yeah, it's been good.
For me, it's actually an eye-opening and inspiring situation to have one doing art now, because you really connect on a different level, a much higher level. And him being a self-taught artist gives me that insight into someone who goes at art with no boundaries, spontaneous vigor, which is so unlike me, because I've been through art school, I've been trained, and now I'm finding a way to untrain myself so I can actually let loose and be a little bit more spontaneous.
Yeah, that's always good. little wildness is good. Yeah, she's always been the order in our lives, I guess, in a general way, and she's got a very methodical way of doing her art. We were just talking last night about how you take such meticulous notes and stuff, and I that's something I need to be better at. But I learn a lot from you. We have I think good artistic, passionate exchanges about art, which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great because it's one more thing we can really talk about in depth. Besides the usual, what's your day like, and every day to us is a new day and with new things to talk about, because he does a lot of research regarding the art he does, the abstract art he does, and it's nice to be filled in or be told about what's going on, well, what he recently discovered, because there's so much art out there and so much good stuff going on that one person can't research and see everything. So it's great to have a sounding board where he's looking at artists that are contemporary artists or even artists from the past that he's interested in, and getting me to take a look at it. And
you always turn me on to a lot of local artists and the arts community. I mean, really connected to working artists both here in Trenton and the New Hope area and in Newark and Jersey City and everywhere. And that's also, I think, for me, really been a huge benefit, because you've done the work of actually being in these art communities where people make a living at it. That's important, and I'm just the beneficiary of that, really. So it's I'm really fortunate that you've done a lot of that work.
Well, it's a lot of legwork, because when I started doing art full time, I was totally clueless of which groups around, where I can find resources to get my art going. But now, almost 9-10 years later, I'm pretty much involved in several communities and really enjoying that, and meeting artists of different backgrounds and status. So it's pretty cool. And actually moving north has given us that great opportunity, living in a tri-state area, to visit New York, the art hub of the US. And it's always exciting to see shows come through and actually visit and expand our minds and see what's out there.
Yeah, and for me, also just the appreciation of again, working artists that actually work, the reality of being an artist, today, which is, it's just very insightful, and I have a lot of admiration for artists that do it full time and make it work and network and everything. It's just it's been very inspiring. So is a new situation for us, but a lot more to come.
Thank you.
We're grateful to the artists who shared their stories with you. Thank you very much to Chi Bravo and Juan Bravo, Betts Green and James Green, Emily Thompson and George Thompson, Bill Miller and Lonja Miller. This Thanksgiving special is a Jen McHugh project. She produced it with assistance from the ArtTalk team, Jean Mahitch, Dennis Riley, and me, Laura Womack. We'll see you again live on December 12th when we welcome Frank Heider, sculptor, painter, and juror for the Phillips Mill 92nd Art Show. Frank is participating in Art Basel Miami. We'll hear the latest news from that art epicenter and explore Frank's extraordinary Janus project. See you then.